All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for a video on cryptocurrency every day. My name's Austin, and happy Chinese New Year. We have officially began the Year of the Pig. Me, I'm going to be celebrating later tonight by watching Babe again for the umpteenth time. Let me know down in the comments how you'll be celebrating. We get 1 year of this pig, people. Let's not let it go to waste. Before we get to the daily doings, the news stories making headlines in crypto today, like always, let's check out the market. Interesting. From what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at is the exact same thing that I've been looking at for the last 10 days now, which is complete stagnation in the crypto market. The total market cap continues to hover around 110, $113 billion market cap. And the Bitcoin price, unfortunately, is struggling a lot more than I thought the price of Bitcoin would struggle to break past that $3,500 resistance line, which is a small bearish sign to me. And it's not that we've hit it a couple times, but to break past it and sustain past 3,500, I thought we'd reach that a little easier. You know, even though I do think we have lower to go, I thought we'd at least break past that resistance. It seems we're struggling a little more than I thought. And it's not like we haven't seen stagnation in the crypto market before. This is nothing new for us. But the reason that I find it a little interesting is because if you compare the crypto markets to traditional markets, like the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, they've been having a great last 4 weeks. Traditional markets continue to rally up for 4 weeks in a row. And crypto remains stagnant for the last 10 days at least, which a lot of people debate all the time. Are these two markets correlated? Is cryptocurrency a hedge against traditional markets? Well, in a negative way, if you're involved in cryptocurrency, right now it is a hedge, which ideally we would like it to go up together. Another reason I find this so interesting, the jury's still out. That's not decided yet, because if we take a look at the price of Bitcoin over the last couple months, they were almost exactly correlated, the Bitcoin price to traditional markets back in December, when Bitcoin, fell from 6,500 all the way to new lows of 3,200. They were correlated back then, not now. Just interesting to see. If we look at the top 10, there's actually no real winners or losers. I do want to take a look at more technically on the Bitcoin price, but let's just... Whoa, what is this? Bitcoin with two eyes. All right. Okay, wait. I do want to get to those news stories. Let's just check this out real quick. I've never heard of Bitcoin with two eyes. It just broke in the top 100. So okay. Well, we're not going to spend too much time on this. This looks like clear manipulation to me. If you're using the Bitcoin name with two eyes, that seems so, I don't know, childish to me or something. And you have this sort of movement when your coin just launched. Looks like manipulation. And look at this. Volume is horrible compared to market cap. Real quick, let's check out the website, Bitcoin. I guess this is the English version, leading me to believe that this is a foreign coin. And what is this? Merchant acquiring. So I guess payments is what it's looking like to me. This gives me so many red flags. It's crazy. I know our listeners here, you guys are smart. You guys would never fall for this, but it's crazy to me. Even in the most bearish times, we're still gaining cryptocurrencies, and we still have people falling for these pump and dump schemes like this. Very interesting. And again, I haven't checked that out. I don't want to spread FUD, but some clear red flags. Before we get to this technical analysis, and it's going to be very light TA, because I do want to spend the majority of the video on current events and FA, fundamental analysis, let's just zoom in on the price of Bitcoin. Let's go year to date. So what have we done? Yeah, and it seems like if we're looking for resistance levels to break, the clearest resistance is going to be 3,000, actually 3,000, 500, 600, what I mentioned before. And we have many more resistance levels above us to try and hit and sustain. We only have one support level below us. We can't even see it on this chart, but it is our yearly lows of last year, 3,200. some bearish indicators. I think that we might be going down before we go up, but that's just me speculating. Let's just look at technical on tradingviews.com, the technical chart for Bitcoin. Let me refresh this. I know it refreshes on its own, but if you look at trading views, and we'll go to the last 5 days. All right, cool. The Bitcoin price right now is over 3,500. Can we sustain it? There's nothing in our history in the last 10 days that gives me confidence that we can, but we'll see. But if you want to put your own lines in, if you want to do your own TA, look at there's tons of indicators you can look at on your own. I want to do the very basic indicators. If we go to technical analysis and look at more information, right now on the 1-day chart, if you're just looking at the TA that TradingViews does for you, some bearish indicators. It's a strong sell saying that they suspect Bitcoin's about to drop a whole lot lower for moving averages analysis, and just general summary is sell. That's the 1 day. Let's go to 1 week. 1 week strong sell still, and let's go to 1 month. Okay, so, well, oscillating, it says buy right now. Do I put all my cards in this basket? No, because this is so completely general that I wouldn't buy or sell based on these metrics. But it's very interesting. Just going off basic TA, TradingViews.com says we have further down to go as well. Let me know what you think. Give me an oink in the description below, followed by your thoughts on Bitcoin, Bitcoin price. I would love to get an oink. But let's keep going. And if you've gotten any value from today's video thus far, feel free to give it a like. It just helps me grow as a channel. Facebook makes its first blockchain acquisition with Chainspace. Very interesting. So Facebook has made its first acquisition into the blockchain space. We've had articles all the time, or recently, about Facebook going into a stablecoin and Facebook hiring cryptocurrency and blockchain experts, but this is the very first time they've acquired in the blockchain space. And the company is called Chainspace. What does Chainspace do? It was building a decentralized smart contract system that could facilitate payments and other services through blockchain technology. So smart contracts really for micropayments and very cheap, much like what every other cryptocurrency is for, super fast, cheap payments. And it's a clear sign, this is the clearest sign, according to cheddar.com, of Facebook's ambition to be a big player in the nascent blockchain industry. And like I said before, Chainspace's goal was to improve the speed of transactions through blockchain, and they want to try and beat traditional systems like Visa. And question for you, why would Facebook want faster, cheaper transactions? How would Facebook utilize these micropayments? Well, they monetize their site. For sure, they could use that blockchain-wise. And the research, and this is what I found more interesting, the researchers behind Chainspace were also looking at how blockchain and decentralization could be applied to areas outside of payments, like polling. Wow, we know Facebook definitely uses polling, and I think it's years, maybe by the end of this year, I have no clue, but I think it's a long time before we see the headline, Facebook adopts its own cryptocurrency. But I think it could be very recently, in the next 6 months, that Facebook comes out and says, hey, we're using blockchain technology for polling. Our polling on our site is more fair than any other site. Hey, we're cheaper in terms of monetization, in terms of buying and selling on Facebook, which you can do. We're cheaper because of our blockchain technology. I think we might see those headlines a lot sooner, or I think they're in the future. That's me. And think about this, everybody, before we get to Litecoin, before we get to the SEC talking about Bitcoin again. I think throughout this year, we're going to see little things like Amazon not getting into their own cryptocurrency, but Amazon exploring blockchain. Google exploring blockchain. We're going to start to see a little more of these green flags in the system. That's me. I think we have big things to come this year. Second piece of news, Charlie Lee announces exploration of MimbleWimble to implement confidential transactions. So earlier last week, this week, I clued you in. I told you that Charlie was implementing, the founder of Litecoin, was exploring privacy features for Litecoin. That was big news. This is the first time we've heard about MimbleWimble, and why everybody puts so much kudos and why everybody likes MimbleWimble so much is because usually when you try and encrypt transactions, when you try and add privacy to crypto transactions, that slows it down and it makes every transaction really, really heavy. But with MimbleWimble, that's a new sort of technology that allows scalability and to have your transactions be very light as well as private. Charlie Lee is exploring this. Is this something we could see in Litecoin? I think we can. This was the exact tweet. Litecoin dev team spent hours discussing how to add confidential transactions. The way to do a soft fork confidential transactions is very similar to doing extension blocks and blah, blah, blah. Here it is. We are also now exploring doing bulletproof MimbleWimble with extension blocks. The reason I think this could be big, because obviously Litecoin is used as a test net or a test bed for Bitcoin. If MimbleWimble works with Litecoin, I think that'll be a big green flag that that's Bitcoin's way in to having a privacy feature, which I do think is in the future for Bitcoin eventually. I like that. Next piece of news, I'm going to give this a like. I want to support them, and I'll give it a retweet. I always want to support good information. And this is coming from Moon Overlord. Justin Sun bought BitTorrent for $140 million. So people scoffed at Justin Sun, and I'm not invested in Tron or anything, but people scoffed when Justin Sun bought BitTorrent, which is a an already known file sharing platform protocol, for $140 million. He spent that on. Well, when he launched their own token a couple days ago, BTT's market cap is now at $150 million, and he still owns BitTorrent. Well played, Justin Sun. So BitTorrent token, as well as Tron, has continued to rally for the last 6 days. Interesting stuff. Who's invested in Tron out there? I've never really been, because all the developers I talk to tell me that they like other cryptocurrencies, code, or developers like EOS, or even some people say Ethereum over Tron. I'm not a developer, but hey, Justin Sun, good on you for this one. I like it. 2 more news stories. Very interesting. This is not getting a lot of play yet. I expect you might see this headline in tomorrow's news, something like that. This is from the a cryptocurrency person on Twitter who specializes in law and policy, and he says the SEC Commissioner Jackson, in an interview to be published next week's, is optimistic that a fund based on Bitcoin will eventually be approved, expresses concern about the proposed ETFs submitted to date. So he's saying that he sees a future where we have a Bitcoin ETF. Whether you like that or not, he's speaking positively on Bitcoin. And it's impossible for me to highlight this, but let me read you 2 excerpts right now. Getting the stamp of approval from the deepest and most liquid capital markets in the world is hard, and it should be. So he's saying getting the stamp of approval from the SEC should be hard, Jackson said. And once we put the stamp of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission on an investment, once we make it available to everyday mom and pop investors, we are taking risks that Americans can get hurt. Jackson's parents held retail jobs and delved into stock markets on their own, which shaped his thoughts on ordinary investors and the Winklevoss proposal. So he thinks of his mom and dad. I come to this job thinking about my mom and dad, he said. Would I have wanted them to be able to buy that ETF? Hell no. Hell no. And I might not be sitting here. And I might not be sitting here if my father had, because it's very risky. So yeah, I'm taking this seriously before putting the stamp, America's stamp of approval, on any investment product. And I'm not going to do it until those questions get answered. I mean, I think you got to respect it. But it's a bullish sign. I agree with him and I disagree with him. I think that for somebody who doesn't do their own research and tries to get in this market, I think that they're asking for trouble, because research, if you do your own research, then you'll be fine. Very interesting. What I would like to see in the future is something he forgets. Actually, I'm going to change my view on this. Something that the SEC commissioner forgets is, do you know how much manipulation takes place in regular traditional markets? A ton. Do you know how much fraud we see in traditional banking systems? A ton. So, double-edged sword, my friend. Last piece of news. As we know, an exchange in Canada, the guy that was in charge of the private keys, he died. He didn't give the private keys to his wife or anything of that nature. And because of that, $190 million worth of cryptocurrency is now closed off to its customers. The people that had their money on that exchange, had their cryptocurrency on that exchange, they can't get it. Well, there was a lot of speculation on this. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. What I was going to say is a lot of people, a lot of developers who were looking at the code and delving more into this exchange were saying that there was never really any cold storage to begin with. And from the start, this exchange was a Ponzi scheme, or I guess maybe a scam is the better word. We have that news, and then we also have news that he has actually died in India. So incredible amount of red flags coming from here. If you're from Canada and you're using this exchange, which I've never heard of, I feel for you. Keep your money off the exchange. I think, in my opinion, this dude scammed a lot of people. That's my opinion. Anyways, that's the news for today. Feel free to give the video a like or subscribe. Join our team. Give me an oink. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.